If somebody like me gets a tax break that they don't need and that the country can't afford, then one of two things are going to happen. Either it adds to our deficit, or we're taking something away from somebody else. That student now has to pay a higher interest rate on their student loan because we got to make up the money somewhere. Or that senior has to start paying more for their Medicare because the money has to be made up somewhere. Or that veteran doesn't get the PTSD care that they needed after serving our country. Or a family that's struggling to get by maybe is getting less home heating oil assistance. Look, there's no way of getting around that. Either folks like me are doing more, or somebody who can't afford it is getting less. And that's not right. That's not who we are. That's not what America's about. I hear politicians talking about values in an election year. I hear a lot about that. Let me tell you about values. You know, hard work, personal responsibility, those are values. But looking out for one another, that's a value.
Yeah.
The idea we're all in this together, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that's a value. The idea that we think about the next generation and we're taking care of our planet, that's a value. You know, each of us is only here because somebody somewhere felt responsibility, yes, to their families, but also to their fellow citizens, also to our country's future. That's the American story. The American story is not just about what we do on our own. Yes, we're rugged individualists and we expect personal responsibility, and everybody out there's got to work hard and carry their weight. But we also have always understood that we wouldn't win the race for new jobs and businesses and middle-class security if we were just applying some you're-on-your-own economics. It's been tried in our history, and it hasn't worked. It didn't work when we tried it in the decade before the Great Depression. It didn't work when we tried it in the last decade. We just tried this. What they're peddling has been tried. It did not work. We know this from our own lives. If we attract some outstanding young person to become a teacher by giving them the pay and the support that they deserve, and that teacher goes on to educate the next Steve Jobs, well, we all benefit. We all do better. America rises. If we're providing faster internet to rural America so that some small business owner suddenly can sell his or her goods around the world, that's good for all of us. If we build a new bridge that saves the shipping company time and money, then workers and customers all around the country benefit. They do better. That's how America became an economic superpower. This has not traditionally been a Democratic or a Republican idea. It was a Republican, Teddy Roosevelt, who called for a progressive income tax. It was Dwight Eisenhower who built the interstate highway system. The first Republican president, President Lincoln, who, by the way, couldn't win the nomination for the Republican primary right now. You know, in the middle of the Civil War, and helped to make the Transcontinental Railroad possible, the land-grant colleges, the National Academy of Sciences, he understood that we're in this together. We've got to make an investment. in our futures. It was with the help of Republicans that FDR was able to give millions of returning heroes, including my grandfather, the chance to go to college through the GI Bill. And that same spirit of common purpose, it still exists today. Maybe it doesn't exist in Washington, but out here in Vermont and all across America, it's there. It's there when you talk to folks on Main Street. It's there when you go to a town hall. It's there when you talk to members of our armed forces. It's there when you talk to people in their places of worship. Our politics may be divided, but most Americans still understand that no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, we rise or fall together as one nation, as one people. And that's what's at stake right now. That's what this election's about. So I know we've gone through some tough years. And I know that for all the things we've done, we've still got so much undone. And sometimes the change we fought for hasn't always come as fast as we wanted. And when you see what's been going on in Washington, I know it's tempting sometimes to get discouraged, to kind of think, well, maybe change just isn't possible. Maybe it was an illusion. But I want you guys to recall, I did say back in 2008, real change, big change, it's hard. It takes time. It takes more than a single term and more than a single president. What it takes is ordinary citizens who are committed to keep fighting and to keep pushing and inching us closer and closer and closer to our country's highest ideals. And you know, something else I used to say back in 2008, I said, I'm not a perfect man. Michelle will tell you that. and I'll never be a perfect president. But I made a promise to you then that I would always tell you what I believed, and I would always tell you where I stood, and I would wake up every single day fighting as hard as I know how for you. And I have kept that promise. I have kept that promise. I have kept that promise. So if you're willing to keep pushing with me,